Hey guys, Life is Strange 2, Episode 2 is finally out. Aren't you so excited? I know I am. And upon playing it, I'm not anymore. The follow-up Life is Strange 2 to the original is such a rocky start because it's so different from the first game. New story, new cast, new characters. Nothing to do with the original, it's just a sort of mood thing, kind of like True Detective. Their words, not mine. But this series isn't doing it for me. It doesn't have that special X factor that makes it a unique and emotionally challenging experience. That was the thing with the original Life is Strange, is it makes you face down very difficult decisions head on all the time, practically trying to mentally traumatize you. But Life is Strange 2 just isn't like that. It's got like maybe some of the mood, but that's it. Being homeless with your brother simulator instead of an actual story, and it just kind of tends to go on, and none of the decisions in this one really feel like they have that much weight. It feels like they're telling a story, and all the player choices just being pushed to the side, like, yeah, no, we don't need that. Maybe it'll impress me later on, and I understand that even Life is Strange 1 had, just basically two endings, but the experience was tailored to what you did, and this just doesn't feel like it's doing that. Doesn't feel like doing that at all. It feels like it's just trying to exist. Like they wanted to tell an original story, but they needed to use the license to get people to buy it, so they just made Life is Strange 2, and like, yeah, it's actually a tale of two brothers, pretty much. It was quite a long chapter, though. I gotta say that some of the people making episodic games can really get big episodes out of this and more gameplay than you're expecting. I played a game called Dreamfall, and one of the episodes, I believe it was episode 2, or yeah, it was 2, was 6 hours long. That's long for an episodic game. It's usually around 2.5 to 3, sometimes more, if there's extras. Life is Strange is kind of trying to do that, because this episode was pretty hefty. I just didn't particularly like it. It felt like a really long experience. When I was playing Dreamfall chapters, I couldn't wait to play the next episode. I was so excited. I can't put the controller down. I keep going and going and going. Loved it. And here on Life is Strange 2, it took me 3 separate sittings to get through it. And each one of those settings were not the same day in a row. Like, I'd play a little bit, then day after next I'd play a little bit more, then day after that I'd play a little bit more until I finish it, and I just wasn't that interested, and here's why. So I have a summary I'm now going to share with you. Spoilers for Life is Strange 2 Episode 2. Spoilers for everything, actually, Here it is, your full recap of Life is Strange 2 Episode 2. It started off in the woods and it was snowing, and apparently the guys found a house. It was an abandoned house, and they just decided to occupy the house, but the time jump between the first episode and the second episode is quite large, as if 4 months did actually pass by. That's how long it took to come out. And first thing I'm noticing is I'm reading the backlog pages of the journal, and I cannot read Sean's handwriting, man. He's just like scribbling everywhere, and I can't read a damn thing he wrote, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that I forgot you can press a button to make it more legible. I was trying to read his handwriting, but you can just look at a subtitle of anything handwritten that you want to read. So big oopsie on my parts for that, but still, bottom line, I can't read Sean's handwriting. The snow on the ground actually looks really good. I gotta say, I always say Life is Strange doesn't have good graphics, and it doesn't. It sucks. The graphics aren't great. They're stylized, cartoony, but they're even worse. They're just technically terrible. But even then, the snow that you walked on the ground looks so real. The way it crunched with every step, the way it kind of folded and had this color was picturesque. It was great, and I loved it. So this game is a pretty good throwing things at other people simulator, as we've now discovered. So your Your brother Daniel wants to try out his powers catching a snowball as it's being thrown, so you throw a few. You can choose to throw it directly at his face. You can throw it at a dog. You can throw it wherever you want. And apparently that's a major decision, is where you throw the snowball. So throwing snowballs and throwing anything is important now. Apparently, instead of superpowers gimmicks like the first game or the talkback gimmick in Before the Storm, Life is Strange 2 has a throwing minigame. Isn't that great? When we went inside the house, Sean started scribbling something with a marker on a wet canvas board, and let me just say, I hate that sound. That literally makes my teeth itch to hear the scribbling noise of a permanent marker on cardboard or paper. Just it scratches at me. It is so painful. It really is. I'm not making that up. I can't stand that sound. It's nails on a chalkboard, but worse. Anyway, you're in this cabin just trying to stay warm, and you're using if you stole stuff, you have camp gear that you're holding inside the house because there's still no power, so it's still pretty cold. It's winter. Anyway, Daniel is coming up with a cold, and you gotta do something about it. You don't know if it's maybe just his powers making him sick, or if he's just sick. It's likely, based on the way they express it, a common cold or something, or worse than a cold, like a flu. In the bathroom, the cabinet, not even a cabinet, a shelf above the sink, is chock full of a bunch of different medications. Tons of prescriptions, drugs, and the like. None of them are name checked. You can't see what's on the labels, you can't see what they are, what they're from, what they're for, but they're just there. And whenever you click on it, Sean says, "No, I can't give him these." And I'm just thinking, why the fuck not? What is on that shelf that's specifically bad for children? What if they had ibuprofen? That'd be good for the fever. That could have been used. That would have been helpful. I don't know what else was on there, but for all we know, they could have had the good stuff. It's like, I don't think I can give him these. Like, do you not recognize any of the medications there? Because they look like over-the-counter stuff. None of them were really in a prescription bottle. So, it probably should have been relatively safe. Daniel's old enough to take medicine. Idiot. On the last day living at the house, you have a can of ravioli with your brother. And for fun, I just whipped out my own can of ravioli and ate it cold. That seriously happened. I was watching them eating the ravioli, and I was like, I'm gonna go get one and just eat out of the can, because I'm disgusting and eat ravioli directly out of the can. I'm crazy. Daniel did prank me pretty good with the ghost thing. He was like, I'm scared, and then you head out there and there's like a shady figure hanging outside the window. And then it was really just Daniel being a dickhead with his power. He's always being a dickhead. Before we go to bed at the abandoned house, we play a dice game. And I can't bother to be remembered what it's even called or how the rules work. All I know is they invented this weird dice game with oddly specific rules that I had to read down 2 or 3 times just to understand what's sort of happening. But even then I didn't get it, so I just kept randomly throwing stuff, and they kept saying the same dialogue over again. Come on, give me something good, give me something good. And it was so cringe. I don't want to call Life is Strange cringe, because I don't think it is as much as other people, but it was pure cringe. I'm playing this dice game, and I keep going and going, playing, just clicking on whatever it tells me to click on. I didn't care about winning. And then once Daniel's turn, sometimes he cheats and you can either call him out on it or not. And I swear, I ended up playing this game for like 45 minutes straight, even though I didn't want to. Then the credits, the opening Chapter 2 logo pops up after the sequence. I'm into the game like an hour and a half. And I just got the logo for the episode. Crazy. So they leave the abandoned house because they gotta go somewhere. So they want to visit their grandparents. But before that, your dog has the decency to die, because that's what dogs do. They get killed. You have a dog named Mushroom, you have him for a bit, he goes outside on his own, you look for him, and whoop, he's dead. He gets eaten by a friggin' mountain lion, cougar thing, I forgot what it's called. And that's when a first big decision pops up. You can choose whether to hold Daniel back from using his powers, or you can have him snap that cat's neck. And I let him do it, just like cracked completely. That totally floored me. That it was brutal, but the cat looks really ridiculous. This game doesn't look good. It doesn't. It's really hard to find a stopping point in the game because it's just really long scenes in each location. And you know, before I get into the rest of it, I gotta say, people assume that the game is, you know, SJW or, you know, has an agenda. Something like that, but it really doesn't, because while there is a lot of leftist stuff in it, and some developers have even said it's politically charged, there's still a lot of conservative values in this game. You know, you have a deadbeat mom who you're having a problem with. You're living with your dad because your mom abandoned you. That's not popular. There's a part in the first episode where you can choose whether or not to beat up this old guy who literally did attack you because he's racist. Yeah, that happened, but if I chose to attack him, and I did, I beat his ass because he violated my nap. After that, the game's gonna show you like a newspaper and says that he's the local town hero because he survived being attacked. On top of that, the brothers themselves are still like basically wanted by police for the murder of their dad. So you're dealing with a lot of fake news on this particular series. You know, there's just a lot of fake news being thrown around. Your grandmother has a prayer with you. She's a Christian and she's a good person. She's a good person to you in the game, even though you have a questionable past and that you're not all that well related because it's the grandparents on your mother's side and mom's absent. When you get to the house of your grandparents, you stay there for a while. They're really nice, but they have some rules, and they're complaining about the rules, but it's like, you're hiding from the law. You'll make do with what you have. Next thing I know, I'm outside hanging out with Daniel, and then the thing from the little prequel story, the Captain Spirit thing happened. He falls down, Daniel catches him, lets him go. And that was actually the most exciting part of the game, is seeing the other part, you know, converge. And after that, it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, I'm still not all that interested in where it's going. So they make it to the house, you know, they save the kid. Next day, Daniel's playing at the neighbor's house, and Sean has to go over them to tell something. But they end up going shopping for a Christmas tree. And then you're out at the Christmas tree, you can talk with these two homeless people who talk really weird and behave really weird and don't seem all that well written. Like, they're just kind of losery people. No offense. They are. Like, you meet them, the game's trailer implied that it'd be like a romantic thing, and even the end of it did, because I was like, oh yeah, did you flirt with this lady? It's like, no, I didn't. What do you think this is, Assassin's Creed? You pick the tree, you go home, and then, you know, you just go upstairs. They want you to find a key so you can bust into your old mom's bedroom. And I'm looking everywhere for the key, and I just can't find it. Maybe there is no key. Either way, forcing me to bust in, even though I didn't want to do that, because I didn't want to upset the parents, the grandparents. And we looked around through their stuff, and even though we looked through their stuff, we didn't take any mementos. I'm like, here's a photo, we should save this. Here's this, we should save it. And you don't. You just move through her stuff, and then the grandparents arrive and get mad at you for opening the room, because you open it with your force powers, as Daniel just room open. They're arguing with each other, and it's like the dumbest argument ever. Like, they're in trouble with the law, and the things they're arguing with are dumb or trivial compared to what's happening. Then while you're arguing, the police sheriff shows up, saying that, you know, the brothers were identified at the Christmas tree shop. That's lame. So after a very short, abrupt sequence of events, you can either choose to help your grandfather, who gets caught under a cabinet, either to lift it with your brother or have him use his powers. And then again, as you're leaving, whether or not you told him to use his powers to pretend that Chris from Captain Spirit actually had powers to trick him, he goes running out in front of a police car that's about to head after you and gets hit. I don't know what's going on with the police officer. He steps out of there and just kind of stares at them like, I know you're not American, don't nod, but that's not what police do. They like get out of the car and they chase people down and they have guns. They don't just hit someone and just stand there perplexed as you walk away slowly, especially when they have multiple cars. That was absolutely a dumb ending. Daniel was traumatized by his new friend, and former friend Chris getting hit by a car. You don't know if he's dead. You just say a few things to him and that's it. What a lame game. By episode 2 of Life is Strange 1, you had to deal with suicide, bullying, all these other weird stuff, and this game's just this happened, I guess. Life is Strange 2 is just not that great. I had to force myself to be interested in the story. I'm not sure where Don't Nod's gonna go after this. They have another game coming out, Twin Mirror. And that's pretty much it at the end. Once you've had all that, it has no impact. The choices aren't too difficult, and I don't feel like we're really accomplishing anything ever. It's just being on the run from the law and trying to survive. Original game's all about high school drama, and I think that's what made it big, is people being semi-nostalgic for the worst part of their lives, getting shat on in high school. And this isn't it. I think Deck 9 should make another prequel game or even a sequel game to the original Life is Strange. They should just make one of those. And Don't Nod, it took 4 months to put this thing out. I'm already no longer interested because I didn't like episode 2. And there's still 3 more episodes to go. Please finish it so I can be done with it faster, because I'm just not feeling it. And when it's done, I'm going to review it, and I'm not seeing that much in the future for Life is Strange, both for this and future games. They don't seem to know what they want to do with it, and neither do I. Thanks, though. Thanks, I hated it.
Thanks, I hated it.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. I mean, if you got this far, congratulations. You officially enjoyed or fell asleep during one of our videos. But if you did stay awake, please, before the next video launches, just click subscribe and like over there. Yeah, right there. Thanks.